Part 2 of Ghost Stories Around the Campfire. Tuesday, September 14th, 11 a.m. Mom just checked up on me. The computer was safely off. She has no idea, or maybe she does. I wonder if my mom is sneakier than she looks. The day after I woke up in the hospital, the police came to my room and asked me a lot of questions. They wanted to know if I was trying to steal anything, who else was involved, why I'd done it, did I remember any details about what happened. I didn't tell them anything they didn't already know or couldn't figure out on their own. I went to the dredge, I fell, I got a serious concussion and shattered my leg. What else was I going to say? That I was looking for a phantom and might have found one? I had a strong feeling that if I'd said anything like that, they'd move me out of the hospital and into the psych ward. As it turns out, my mental health was the very reason why they kept me for so many days. I could have gone home a week earlier, but there was a psychiatrist who kept stopping by. My dad was back at work, but my mom was still hanging around. She left the room whenever the psychiatrist came in. She, the psychiatrist, was pretty in a button-down sort of way. She had red hair and glasses and a notepad. She asked if I'd been taking any drugs or drinking. She asked what I did with my free time and about Sarah. She wondered if she could read some of my stories, and I politely declined. I didn't want her digging around in my stuff. I was pretty sure it wouldn't look good if she found my paranoid rantings about Skeleton Creek. When they finally let me go home, I had the distinct feeling I barely passed some sort of emotional exam they'd run me through. It felt a little like standardized testing at school, like it sort of passed, but not really. And anyway, I'd never known for sure how I did because they wouldn't tell me. It was an empty feeling. Okay, I know I'm avoiding something. I'm writing quickly, but I'm also deciding what I really should be writing about. Now I'm back to the present. Can I avoid it any longer? If I get it down on paper, it will make it real, but maybe if I write it down, I'll fear it less. This strategy often works for me when I'm scared. Writing the things I'm scared of, especially if I turn them into a story, makes them feel as if they've been relegated to the page, and I can allow myself to worry less about them in real life. So, here goes. There was a presence upstairs with me in the dredge before it walked in front of Sarah's camera lens. I was examining the rusted gears, trying to imagine how they could possibly spring to life. The rust came off of my fingers. Days later, Mom would ask me about the orange mark on my pants where I'd wiped the rust off, and I wouldn't have an answer for her. I guess I have one now. Just as I wiped my fingers, I turned toward the darkened path of boards that led away from the gears where old Joe Bush had worked. There was a long, wide belt that ran into the black, and sitting on the belt was a hand. It was attached to an arm, the arm to a body, and the body was moving towards me. There was a faint light all around the body as it moved closer to me. I can see it now. I am seeing it. It was a silhouette, all in black, so I couldn't make out a face, but the body was large. Whatever this was, it was big and slow. It stepped forward, steadying itself on the wide belt as it came, and it dragged its other leg behind. I remember now how I realized three things all at once. The first was that I couldn't speak. I don't know if it was some force of darkness that constricted my throat, or if it was simply pure terror, but either way, the best I could do was keep breathing. Even that, I now recall, came with great effort. The second thing, and this one was worse than the first, was that I found myself trapped. I was backed up against the wooden rail behind the gears, which was a corner section of the dredge that looked out over the bottom level. This thing that was after me had me cornered. The last realization I had, worse than the first two put together, was that all my terrible nightmares had finally come true. In the back of my mind, there had always been this one important fact. None of the monsters I'd imagined over the years had ever really come to get me. But now I saw that it was true. There really was a monster, and it really was going to scare me to death. When it was close enough to touch me, I saw the shadow of its lips move. It spoke to me from beneath the wide brim of a workman's hat. Number 42 is mine. Stay away from this place. I'm watching you. And then, all at once, my own voice returned. I screamed. I backed up, and the old wooden rail fell away. I remember now looking up as I fell and seeing that whatever had stood over me was gone. It had vanished. Or had it been there at all? Sarah's video of the leg walking past, dragging the other behind it, makes me surer than ever that what I saw that night was real. I can't tell anyone but Sarah, or they'll put me in the loony bin. I feel like people were watching me before the accident, but now it's much worse. My parents are watching me. I'm certain they'll have everyone else in town watching me. Friday, Henry will arrive and he'll be watching. Gladys, with her shotgun, is watching me. The raven is watching at my window, and the thing at the dredge, it has to be watching, or maybe coming to get me.